Hi, historians. So today you're going to learn how to complete your oral history assignment by analyzing and writing about your oral history project. So there are several resources that you're going to need to access today. The first is the article Interpreting Oral History, and it looks like this. Interpreting Oral History, and it's produced on the free content website called History Matters. And the second thing that you're going to need to view is an example of what your work will look like when you're done with this assignment. So you've already become acquainted with the South Phoenix Oral History website. This is an academic collection of student-produced content about the history of South Phoenix and South Mountain Community College. So by producing content for our website, you are legitimately creating historical research and putting it out there for the public. So all of these examples that are hyperlinked, and you looked at several of them at the beginning of the semester, give you an idea of what it is that you will be creating. So I'm going to click on one that I think is just really great. So in the fall of 2019, two students interviewed Lori Shelton and her mother, Sylvia Villaverde, and this is the story that they produced. So you've already created your index, or you're starting your index, and for your final assignment, you will be writing a short story about the narrator that you interviewed or the narrator you were assigned to. It should look something like this. You will not be responsible for the images themselves or the clips, which you can see here is referenced just with a little icon. You will be responsible for finding a place along the way in your story and your narration that you should say to me, insert clip here or insert video here. So this is what you're going to be looking at. You're going to look at a couple examples on our web and identify the framework or the format that the very best students who wrote utilized. So that's one of the two things you're going to be doing, but the very first thing you're going to do is I'm going to have you read this article, Interpreting Oral History. So go ahead and pause the video and read this article. It's about 2 pages long. And it gives you kind of an overview of oral histories and how we go about interpreting them. Okay, so hopefully you've read the article, and I want to highlight a few concepts that are referenced here in the article. I love this final paragraph and the opening line of the final paragraph, which reads, "What is needed then is an understanding of oral history, not so much as an exercise in fact-finding, but as an interpretive event, as the narrator compresses years of living into a few hours of talk, selecting, consciously and unconsciously, what to say and how to say it." So you as historians, you as students and as writers and researchers, you are going to be interpreting what these people have said in maybe the duration of 45 minutes to about an hour and a half, and making that fit within a framework of the historical concepts of the class. So this isn't easy work, but it can be really fun work. So once you've read the article, I want you to pause the tape and go back and answer the first question in the quiz about the article. When you're done, come back and we will discuss. When you're done, come back and we will discuss the next step. Okay, now that you're back, let's take a look at an excellent example of a student-written final story that is still in process of being finalized on our website. This is the story of Lori Shelton. So you can see they started with her name, and then they gave a little brief introduction into who Lori Shelton is. Lori Shelton is a senior student services specialist and TRIO Upward Bound officer at South Mountain Community College. She was born and raised in the South Mountain area. Lori still remembers growing up among the citrus groves and flower fields along Baseline Road. And you can see that we have an archival image of Lori, so we've inserted it here. On the students' paper, what they did was they just put a little note that said, insert archival image here. And then that's what I did once I published their work on the web. And then they describe her. As a teenager, Lori was a strong athlete at South Mountain High School and later at South Mountain Community College. She played 3 sports: volleyball, basketball, and softball. Softball was her favorite. She feels a very emotional connection to the softball team at SMCC because her mother, Sylvia Villaverde, started the program. And then you can see they put future file video, insert clip, and they gave me the timestamp of the potential clips that we could use. So when you're using your index to go through the interview, you can be thinking of like, this is a really interesting moment. This is a really cool thing that this person says. In your story, just make a note for me. You can bold it, you can put it as a return, you can put it in brackets, whatever works for you. And then that helps future students to know what clip they should select when they're designing work on the web. And then they go on to talk a little bit more about Lori and Sylvia. And then they talk a little bit about how Lori ended up at South Mountain Community College herself and some of the roles that she's played. And you can see along the way they've inserted several potential video clips. At the bare minimum, I want you to give me at least 3 suggestions of clips that I can use for the web. Use the index you've created or the index created by other students to find useful moments in the interview that you want to highlight. Overall, remember, this is an interpretive process. You are reading or watching an interview that's a firsthand account of someone's life story. You are selecting the parts that seem most interesting and relevant, but you're also doing justice to them as individuals. If you want more suggestions, feel free to click around on any of our narrators that are hyperlinked. Here's Buddy Cheeks. You might know him from the Student Services and Leadership offices. This is, again, another great picture we have of Buddy that's archived. We have some other future video clips. So before you go, I want to show you what it looks like once the clips are inserted. Alfredo Gutierrez is a former state senator of the state of Arizona. We interviewed him in the fall of 2018. So you can see, once again, here's his name, a brief description of who he is, and then an image, right? This one doesn't have any video clips yet because the students didn't suggest that to me at the time. So this is something that I have to go back in and do. So if you want to see what it looks like once the interviews are included, let's go to our other Alfredo. Alfredo de los Santos. Here's a little picture of him interviewing with the students. And here you can see that we have clips for Alfredo already in the story frame. So if you have any questions, email me, let me know. Otherwise, complete the brief quiz saying that you've watched this training and go ahead and get working on your story. Good luck.